Hey you guys, it's me Gemstone from www.tarotforhealing.com. I hope you guys are doing really well. This is your monthly astrological reading for the month of June, and this video is for the Aquarius. And so, what I'm going to be doing that is different this month is I'm going to be using playing cards. Because you guys know I always have to do something different like month to month, and I decided to use the playing cards because my great grandma used to read playing cards, and I've been connecting much more with her and her spirit and so forth. So I decided to start using them more, and I really enjoyed them. So what I've decided to do is I've sort of done this general reading for you using the playing cards, and then I've pulled cards from the Tarot Illuminati deck to sort of go into like specific areas of your life. But the very first card that shows up as your playing card is the Three of Spades, the Eight of Diamonds, the Ace of Diamonds, and the Eight of Clubs. Now, it is so weird. Actually, it's not weird. Let me take it back. Because I was going to say, like, your reading to me sounds similar to Gemini. Even though, like, I shuffled up the cards, like, really well. But then, it's not actually the same. It's sort of almost like a similar hiccup, but it's different issues, if you get what I'm saying. So, what it is for you is that, again, like, which was similar to Gemini, is that I'm seeing there can be some sort of loss, heartbreak, an issue when it comes to a relationship, and that even is reflected like in your tarot cards as well. And I promise you that, like, I cleared my mind of all the Gemini, like everything that was coming from the Gemini reading, and I focused like on you guys, like specifically, and yet like, okay, like I said, similar hiccup but different sort of issues surrounding it. But it's like where there is an issue in terms of relationships, in terms of a relationship either breaking up, separating, or something has come in to challenge a relationship. Again, it's showing that you want to almost rebuild that relationship. You want to make it work. You want to sort of try again, work things out, be responsible in terms of like making the situation right. So again, it's like it's a determined kind of attitude. But then and it shows that you can be successful in creating that sense of stability, because that's what you're going for, that's what you're trying to pursue. But then this is where it sort of switches up, is that with your last card, it's kind of showing that it can mean to positive movements forward that can be manifested, that can be created. So again, it's positive. It's like if you work on really creating a new beginning in this situation, everything can fall into place, everything can kind of work itself out. But then I'm gonna have to sort of address some issues that show up when it comes to your relationship cards, but I'll get to those in a minute. But then what's also shown up here is when it comes to your work, you have the Three of Pentacles. And what the Three of Pentacles is showing is that you are really you're gonna have to be working alongside other people. This card can represent work where you are like contracted work, but it's work that you enjoy. It can be physical work that you do with your hands, but then at the same time it's sort of like it can be a situation where you are working for other people or you're working for yourself, but there has to be some kind of cooperation between you and another group of people, and for the sake of the common goal that you're trying to create for yourself. And these people could be quite demanding. Like when I look at this card, that's the first thing that comes to mind. That you might be working for people that are quite demanding. They expect a lot from you, but then you have the talent, you have the ability to actually make it work. So it's not to say that you're out of your depth. And I'm not surprised that you're not out of your depth. I think you guys, you know a lot of stuff. Like every person that I've ever met that's like an Aquarius, like they know all these random things, And it's like, wow, like, how do you know this stuff? But they, so I can imagine that you have what it takes to do a good job, and to really deliver what either your boss wants, or whoever it is that you're working for. You have the ability to deliver what they want, but they want a lot. They expect a lot out of you. So you're really going to have to be committed to what it is that they are asking you to do. But I feel like you're going to have a good attitude about it. I don't think you're going to be resistant to it, because it almost might be, even though it might be a lot of work, it might be something that you actually don't mind doing. So it's not like it's tedious work. It's work that, there is some interest there, or you have some kind of background in terms of that work anyways. So it's kind of going to work out okay. So, and you might be actually being really creative when it comes to your work. It's like a card of what you can produce. And I think in that sense, that also might be something that really sort of suckers you into being more committed to what it is that you're doing, because maybe it allows you to be a bit more creative, or might even give you a bit of leeway. So even though they might expect a lot from you, they might have a lot of demands, it might be that they give you a whole bunch of stuff to do, but they're kind of telling you, oh, but it's okay if you don't follow the brief to a T, if you get what I'm saying. Like, maybe they give you a bit of leeway to sort of add your own spin or your own touch to what it is that you're doing, and so that kind of makes it a bit more okay for you. But then I still get the feeling that whoever you work for, you work alongside, will expect quite a bit from you. Or they might even be depending on your intellect, to be honest. Like, you might get people that come to you that actually are wanting to sort of pick your brain about things as well. And maybe that's why you're going to be a bit more happier with doing it, because you already know this stuff already. So, yeah, it could be like that too. But when it comes to your relationship situation, you have the Tower. And even though the Tower is a very dramatic looking card, and as you can see, it's like two different people like flying in different directions, maybe that's what sort of caused the hiccup in the relationship. Maybe it's that there was this kind of argument, disagreement, things just kind of got out of hand maybe, and that's kind of what broke down the foundations of things. But you know what, with the Tower card, it can also be a case of maybe this is something that was sort of an issue that was supposed to be dealt with but wasn't really dealt with. Maybe you wasn't really voicing how you felt about a situation that maybe wasn't a good situation when it came to the relationship, but you just kind of pressed on with things, and then it sort of built up gradually, and then it could have turned into an argument. But I kind of get the impression of something not being addressed. Because the thing about the Tower is, even though again it looks a bit like dramatic in its presentation, it kind of shows that it's sort of an out with the old, in with the new kind of energy about it. So it's like it's whatever it is about this relationship, it was old and it was outmolded and it had to go. And so because of that, it can create disagreements, issues that bubble up to the surface. But I think even sometimes in that moment of destruction where everything seems like it's sort of going downhill, sometimes, in some instances, that's when you can actually get the most work done and the most things resolved. Because it's like now, everything again, like I said, that was sort of hidden, now is being brought to the surface to be addressed. And the only way that you can address it is if you're willing to sort of work together in building it back up again, re-establishing what it is that the two of you have. And I think at times that's what has to happen in a relationship. It has to progress, basically. Like, the Tower could also be indicating that maybe the relationship wasn't progressing. Maybe it was just sort of stuck in a state where it was a bit stifled, and it kind of needed to sort of be blown up almost. Like, it needed something to happen. Again, that may have seemed disastrous to begin with, but it needed to happen in order for like issues to be addressed, or in order to create something that is better than what you already had. So again, it's a work in progress, rebuilding things to fix it, to make it better than what it was. And that's sort of what I'm seeing in terms sort of your playing cards. It's the commitment to readdressing some issues and having an even stronger relationship, because you guys are no longer tiptoeing around each other, or you're no longer just sticking to sort of an old and outmoded way of looking at your relationship, and you're prepared to embrace something new. Um, and then for those of you that are single, you have the Chariot card. And I kind of feel like these cards are connecting together, because the Chariot card, when it comes to, for those of you that are in relationships that went through the whole period of the Tower, it's showing that things can again be reestablished, they can be rebuilt. And again, it's going to take work, it takes the commitment, it takes the effort, but it's about being driven by your emotions and your feelings, and keeping and letting your heart drive your decisions, push you forward to keeping something together. So that's really nice for those of you that are in relationships. For those of you that are single, it could be saying that maybe that's what you're going to have to deal with. Maybe you're having to deal with maybe even picking up the pieces of a situation that has been left behind, where you have to kind of work on yourself and be whole within yourself. And but still, it's a good attitude to have, because you're willing for movement, you're willing for things to move forward. So when it comes to your emotions, when it comes to a relationship situation, or when it comes to just um your personal life. I'm kind of getting this feeling for both of you that are single and in relationships, that things have been stuck and stifled, and they've become old and dry, and it's sort of like they need a new sort of lease of life to sort of move things forward. And June is the month where you want things to move forward. You don't want this old stagnant energy anymore. It's like you want to embrace something fresh, and because of that, you're not afraid to move forward anymore. Because it was so weird, because when I first looked at these cards, I kind of thought that a different message was coming through, because I was feeling like that even before I looked at these tarot cards. I was feeling like there's some of you guys that are dealing with a state of there's no progression, and because of that, I think it's like things have to be readdressed, have to be sorted out. And for those of you that are single, it's the same kind of thing. You're prepared to move forward. So if it's been a case of you've been single for quite some time, this might be the month where you decide to look for love, like make a bit more effort to look for love or look for a partnership. Or it could just be a case of, it might not be necessarily having to look for a partnership, but it's almost like you're just looking for a change, you're looking for something different. And I think that would actually turn out really well for you. And where the Geminis had the moon reversed, but it was in a different position, it wasn't their spirit card. You have the moon upright, but it is in your spirit section. And so what this is kind of telling, somebody else had it in this spirit section, I think, as well. The moon card is one that seems to be stalking us, because usually month to month there's a card that likes to stalk sort of through the reading, and it's like the moon sort of seems to be that card. It's to me, I think it's shown up a few times now. But what the moon is kind of saying is, I feel like for you is a different message though. It's like letting what is going on the inside exude outside. Because I feel for you, there's been things that are coming to the surface, things that need to be broken down, old things that need to be removed, emotions, which is a theme that has been going through, especially when it comes to the air signs. Emotions have to be brought to the surface, and they have to be dealt with. So this is your opportunity to do that. But it's gonna almost happen in a forceful way. That's what I'm seeing, which is different for you. It's happening in a forceful way. So it's almost like it's not gonna be a situation where you wanted to express what is going on within you, but you're gonna be forced to. And it's like you don't have a choice. But even though you're being forced to, it's important for you to do that, because it's almost like it's showing that you're harboring too much within yourself. And so they have to be brought to the surface. Again, the moon can represent kind of our fears, anxieties, uncertainties, all that kind of stuff. So that might be also things that you might have to work through this month. But I think all of those things are kind of tied in with your emotional self. And I think that when things actually are put on the table and it's out there and you have to kind of deal with it because now it's out there, it will really improve things for you. It will improve things for your relationships. It will improve things for you in terms of the way you feel about yourself or what is going on with you internally. Because I'm sensing that a lot of you are trying to maintain your composure when it comes to certain situations, especially when it comes to your relationships. You're either pretending like okay things are okay, and or you're, it's not that things are okay. It's almost like you might even be upset about things. That's what I'm seeing for you. Like there might be things that are getting on your nerves or that's kind of ticking you off and stuff, and you're just sort of, but you're not dealing with it. You're not saying anything, and then it's almost like you can take one thing and then everything is gonna just come out. Because maybe you're trying to be a different way almost. Like maybe you're trying to be, maybe you think like, oh, if I act like I'm really tolerant towards all these stuff, then maybe it might make the relationship better. Like maybe you're just feeling like, okay, maybe I'm being a bit too nitpicky when it comes to things that tick me off that my partner does or all this other stuff. And so maybe I'm just gonna act like I am okay with it when I'm really not okay with it. And then, like I said, something happens and then everything comes to the surface. So I feel like it's just saying, just be honest. Like don't try to just keep so much to yourself. Just say how you feel, express it. So yes. Okay. Peace and blessings to you, Aquarius. I'll see you. Bye.